Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something that's really kind of pushing the boundaries of AI, and that's boosting the efficiency of large vision language models,
Right.
which we usually just call LVLMs for short.
Yeah.
Basically, these are the AI systems that can understand both images and text, but they can be really computationally expensive.
Oh, yeah, they can be real resource hogs for sure.
So today we're going to zero in on how these LVLMs process images specifically.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the opportunity is to really improve efficiency.
Exactly. And our guide for today is this really fascinating research paper called PyramidDrop, Accelerating Your Large Vision Language Models via Pyramid Visual Redundancy Reduction.
Catchy title.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Sounds a little intimidating, but stick with us. It's a pretty cool idea once you wrap your head around it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty intuitive when you think about how much redundant information is packed into images.
Okay, so give us the breakdown.
Well, think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to read a document, but every other word is repeated.
I'd probably get pretty bored.
You and me both, and it would take you forever to get through it right.
Right.
Well, images can be kind of like that for LVLMs.
Okay.
They're packed with information, but a lot of it's redundant, like pixels that are really similar in color and texture to their neighbors.
Oh, so it's kind of like we're trying to teach these AI systems to skim images instead of reading every single pixel.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
I like it. So how do they even read those pixels in the first place?
They use these things called tokens, which are basically like digital building blocks of information.
Okay.
But with all this redundancy, they end up processing way more information than they need to.
So it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is made entirely of needles.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense why we'd want to make these things more efficient, but haven't people already tried to tackle this problem?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Some researchers have tried compressing the image before giving it to the LVLM, sort of like zipping a file on your computer.
Right.
And others have tried dropping some of those tokens early on in the processing.
So kind of like skimming those repeated words we were talking about.
Exactly. But the problem is those methods can end up throwing away important information along with the redundant stuff.
Ah, so it's a balancing act. You want to get rid of the fluff but keep the important parts.
Right.
And that's where I'm guessing PyramidDrop comes in. This is where things get interesting.
You got it. PyramidDrop changes the game because it takes a totally different approach.
Yeah.
The big aha moment here is that not all image tokens are equally important at all stages of processing.
Wait, explain that to me. How did they figure that out?
Well, they ran a bunch of experiments where they started removing different amounts of image tokens at different stages of processing.
Point.
And then they looked at how that affected the model's performance.
So it's like a pop quiz for the AI.
Yeah.
Did it freak out when they started taking away information?
It's funny you should say that because they actually tested it using a benchmark called TextVQA, which specifically focuses on understanding the text within images.
So like asking it to read a street sign in a picture.
Exactly.
Okay, so what happened?
This is the surprising part. They found that when they removed tokens really early on in the processing, the LVLM really struggled. But as you get deeper into the model, those image tokens become less and less important.
That's so interesting. It's like when you first look at a picture, you take in all the details, but as you start to understand what you're seeing, you focus on the key elements and filter out the rest.
You're getting it. That's exactly what these LVLMs seem to be doing, and that's the brilliance of PyramidDrop. It takes advantage of this phenomenon by strategically getting rid of those less important tokens as the image moves through the different stages of processing.
So it's learning to see smarter, not harder.
You got it.
Okay, I am officially hooked. Tell me more. How does this PyramidDrop thing actually work? What's the secret sauce?
It's all about thinking in layers. Imagine a pyramid. It starts wide at the bottom and gets narrower as you go upright.
Yeah.
PyramidDrop works the same way. It divides the LVLM into stages, and then it gradually drops a portion of those image tokens at the end of each stage.
So it's kind of like shedding those less important tokens as it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the key. It doesn't just randomly toss tokens away. It uses this really clever tool called an attention module to figure out which tokens are less important.
Based on what?
Based on the specific task the model is trying to perform.
Ah, so it's like a smart filter. It knows which tokens to keep and which ones it can safely toss.
Precisely. That means that in those initial stages, all the image tokens are preserved, so we don't lose any crucial information.
Okay.
But as the model gets deeper into the processing, the number of tokens gradually decreases.
Clever. Okay, so we've got this system that's intelligently getting rid of all this redundant information.
Right.
I'm guessing this leads to some pretty impressive results.
You're not wrong. They tested PyramidDrop with a couple of popular LVLMs, LLaVA-1.5 and LLaVA-NeXT.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
And the results were seriously impressive.
Huh.
With LLaVA-NeXT, they managed to cut the training time by a whopping 40%.
40. Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And they didn't lose any accuracy for that speed boost.
Nope. In fact, on a lot of the tests, the models trained with PyramidDrop actually performed even better than the original models.
So faster and potentially more accurate. That's amazing.
It's really cool. It seems that by getting rid of all that clutter, the models can actually focus more effectively on what's important.
What about image resolution? Can they handle really high-res images with this system?
That's where things get even cooler. PyramidDrop actually allowed them to train LLaVA-NeXT with doubled input resolution while using less time than the original model.
No way.
And once again, the performance was excellent.
So we're talking about AI that can understand these crazy detailed images and do it faster than ever before.
Yeah.
This is seriously groundbreaking stuff.
It really is. We're talking about faster training times, lower computational costs, and the potential to handle even higher resolution images in the future. It's a whole new world.
So what does this mean for everyday people like me who aren't AI experts? Why should we care about faster, more efficient LVLMs?
Well, think about it. This could lead to breakthroughs in all kinds of fields. Imagine doctors using AI to analyze medical images and detect diseases earlier and more accurately.
That would be incredible.
Or self-driving cars that can navigate complex environments even better.
Or just AI assistants that are actually helpful and can actually understand us.
Exactly. And here's another big thing. PyramidDrop could also make these technologies more accessible. Because they require less computing power, they could potentially run on things like smartphones or even smaller devices.
So we're not just talking about AI that's smarter and faster.
Yeah.
We're talking about AI that could be in everyone's hands.
Exactly.
This is starting to feel like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It kind of is. But wait, there's more.
More. There's more. I thought we were just scratching the surface here.
We've only just begun to explore what PyramidDrop can do.
All right, tease. What else is there to uncover about this AI magic?
Well, before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, let's just take a moment to let all this sink in.
Yeah, my brain needs a minute to catch up. All right, I'm ready. Bring on round two.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so remember how we talked about PyramidDrop working like a pyramid, gradually shedding those less important tokens as the information moves through the model?
Yeah, like it's getting more and more focused as it goes.
Right. Well, they actually put that to the test with different types of LVLMs.
You mentioned LLaVA-NeXT earlier, the one that can handle those super high-res images. Did they use that one for these tests?
They did. And what they found was really interesting. They divided the LLaVA-NeXT model into stages, kind of like checkpoints along the way.
Okay.
And they experimented with dropping different amounts of tokens at each stage.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. They're fine-tuning it depending on how far along the process is.
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot between efficiency and performance.
So how do they decide which tokens to drop?
That's where the attention module comes in. Think of it like a spotlight that shines on the most important parts of the image based on what the model is being asked to do.
Okay. I think I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
So if I show the model a picture of a dog playing fetch
Okay.
and ask it what color is the ball, the attention module will focus on the ball and ignore the dog and the background.
Exactly. The attention module is helping PyramidDrop figure out which pieces of information are most relevant and which ones it can safely ignore.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just blindly reducing data. It's about intelligently prioritizing the information that matters most.
Right.
All right, let's talk results.
Yeah.
You mentioned some pretty impressive improvements in training time. Can you give us some concrete numbers?
Absolutely. Remember how I said PyramidDrop helped cut the training time for LLaVA-NeXT by 40%?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, that translates to going from 366 hours of training down to just 218 hours.
That's a huge difference, and all without sacrificing any accuracy.
And in some cases, they actually saw even better performance. It seems like by getting rid of all that extra noise, the model can actually focus more effectively on the details that matter.
That's incredible. So we've got faster training, potentially even better performance.
Yeah.
What else can this PyramidDrop do? What about those high-resolution images we were talking about?
Well, remember how LLaVA-NeXT was already able to handle those super high-res images?
Yeah.
With PyramidDrop, they were actually able to double the resolution and still train the model faster than the original LLaVA-NeXT.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And the performance on those tests was incredible.
Okay, so we're talking AI that can understand super detailed images,
Yeah.
and it can do it faster and more efficiently than ever before.
This is huge.
I know, it's pretty mind-blowing. It opens up a whole world of possibilities for how we use AI to solve problems.
It really does. But let's not forget about accessibility. You mentioned earlier that PyramidDrop could make these technologies available to more people. Right, because these models are so much more efficient, they could potentially run on devices that don't have a ton of processing power.
Like smartphones.
Like smartphones, exactly. Or even smaller devices.
So we could have this incredibly powerful AI in our pockets.
It's definitely possible. Think about the possibilities. We could have all sorts of new apps and tools that leverage the power of LVLMs.
Yeah, this is seriously game-changing stuff. And it all started with the simple idea of getting rid of the information that was slowing these models down.
And it's really just the tip of the iceberg. There's still so much to explore with this technology.
Okay, now you've really got me curious.
Mm.
What else is there?
Well, one of the things that really fascinates me is how PyramidDrop interacts with the instructions you give the model.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about the image itself, it's also about what you're asking the AI to do with that image.
Exactly. The process of dropping those tokens is actually really sensitive to the instructions you give it.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They actually did some visualizations to see which tokens were being kept at different stages. And it's really clear that the model is holding on to the information that's most relevant to the task at hand.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine you show the model a picture of a busy city street.
Okay.
And you ask it, what color is the taxi on the left?
Okay.
As that image goes through the model, PyramidDrop is going to start getting rid of the tokens that aren't important for finding that taxi.
Like the buildings and the people walking by.
Exactly. Because those things aren't crucial to answering the question.
So it's kind of like the model is learning to zoom in on the details that matter most.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
And that's what makes PyramidDrop so powerful. It's not just about making things faster. It's about making the model smarter by focusing on the right information.
This makes me wonder about all the other applications we haven't even talked about yet.
Hmm?
Could this be used to make things like facial recognition more accurate?
Absolutely. By zeroing in on the key features that make one face different from another, PyramidDrop could make facial recognition much more accurate and efficient.
What about things like analyzing images from satellites? Could that benefit from this too?
Oh yeah, definitely. PyramidDrop could help us find patterns and changes in massive amounts of satellite data, which could have huge implications for things like environmental monitoring and urban planning.
Wow. This feels like just the beginning. It's like PyramidDrop is opening up a whole new world of possibilities in AI.
It really is. It's such a simple idea, but it has the potential to revolutionize how we design and use these powerful AI systems. And it's not just facial recognition or satellite imagery. I think PyramidDrop could have a huge impact on all sorts of visual tasks.
Like what? Give me some more examples.
Well, think about medical imaging. Doctors could use this to analyze scans and detect things like tumors way earlier than they can today.
That would be incredible.
Right. Or how about self-driving cars?
Yeah, they rely heavily on images.
Exactly. PyramidDrop could help those cars make better decisions faster by focusing on the most important visual cues.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. It sounds like anything that involves processing images could potentially benefit from this technology.
I think that's right. It's really about understanding the power of selective intention.
And using that power to make AI smarter and more efficient.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into PyramidDrop, what's the main takeaway here?
I think it's that we shouldn't be afraid to rethink the way we approach AI.
Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones.
Right. And PyramidDrop is a perfect example of that. Just by getting rid of unnecessary information, we can unlock a whole new level of performance and make these incredible technologies accessible to everyone.
Well said. This has been a truly fascinating exploration of the cutting edge of AI.
I agree.
A huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this journey. We hope you learned something new and are as excited as we are about the future of AI.
And be sure to check out the show notes for links to the PyramidDrop paper and some other cool AI research.
And folks, until next time, keep those brains buzzing and stay curious. We'll see you on the next deep dive.